Righto, let's fucking rip into it. Righto, money mortars. Jesus Christ, the last thing I want to do on a fucking Saturday is talk about the stock market. So I am up at the bar getting shit-faced whilst we've got I'd say we'd call them the UGCs. The Ultra GCs. The bloody people that hit the half century on the referral for the director's special.
Who was the most?
Is this a rhetorical question?
I think it might have been you, Mr. Scott. Okay. Was it?
Don't say his last name, mate. He'll get bloody. He's going to get love letters.
Do what you want.
We could say your last name, can't we?
Yeah, do what you want.
Oh, mate. So, buddy, and of course, GC0 is here. Bryce Gower, who bought the first ever Hootaroo hat.
You?
For $200 off Trav at D.
Was
at
that
Diggers
you?
and Dealers.
Right off his head.
How pissed were you?
I was pretty sober, but I was playing
At 11
him
in the
and Matty
morning.
off, right? I was like 50, 100, 150, 200. And Trav goes, 200. So Matty was out.
Oh, this guy's a bloody lunatic. Right, let's introduce yourself, boys, and work yourselves around the table. Introduce yourself to the money miners.
Simon Nordock.
Simon, who are you? What do you do?
What do you do, Simon? Do you have a
I'm
fucking job?
Unfortunately,
I watch Money of Mine every day.
Rick, get that bloody mic in like you're kissing it, Cobber. Fucking rip her in.
mechanical engineer by trade. Now I've project management, process plant type design work.
Simon, I think we're going to learn a thing or two off you today, mate.
So he knows everything about how CapEx blows the fuck out.
Yeah, that's I'm very comfortable talking about fuck ups, but only for the companies that are no longer around, which is there's a few of them, fortunately.
We're going to get into them. And who have we got here, mate?
So I'm Bryce Gower. I'm CEO at Augment Technologies, and I'm a big fan of the show because they help me understand all my potential customers and existing customers. Nothing makes me more excited than hearing my existing customers being talked about on your podcast.
Except for the sound of your own voice. You do love that as well.
Well, only after you edit it and filter it.
God, the things
Magic
you do
auto
for a
tune.
free ad, Bryce. Fuck, you're drunk. Oh, hey, boys, can you move yourselves into the set? See yourselves on the camera so you're on the piss, Bryce? Just shuffle a bit. So, yeah, there you go. And tell you what, we've got Robert Friedland's best friend on Zoom at the moment, dialing in from across the ditch. The main man himself, the Koala, a repeat offender on Money of Mine. Koala, love that thing bopping in front of your face. Welcome, Cobber.
Good morning, everyone. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Where am I?
What time
Who's
is it
to
there?
say? What is time in mining?
What is time? You've obviously got nothing better to do than do this, which is absolutely flattering for us, rather than sleep.
It's commitment. It's waking up at 4 a.m. there. We're drinking beer. You're, I hope, not drinking beer. I'd be pretty alarmed.
Did I sleep? Did I pull an all-nighter? We'll find out.
Or pulling yourself all night. Righto, let's rip in, boys. We've got I don't know if there's any bloody agenda today. What is hot at the moment? What is giving you a stiffy in the market?
I'll tell you what, Matty. Let's get Simon to nominate a topic. What do you want? What is like the first thing you think of in the last week when you think, fuck, stocks?
Stocks. Oof. I don't know if I'm the best person for this because I haven't invested in a stock since I sold Pilbara Minerals at at I think 30 cents in COVID. So yeah, stocks. No.
Pilbara's a good starting point. I like that.
Was 30 cents the COVID low, or was that on the way up
low.
already?
No, so I would have bought it at 60 and then just cracked it on the way up. But yeah, so I'd had a little nominal gain and I thought, fuck it. We'll get rid of those.
I'll see you one better. I invested in Altura Minerals, and God, I did all my research. Pilgangura, what a cracker. And God knows how they go belly up and doesn't actually go over to the ore body, right? So I still hold shares in Marilla, whatever the hell that is, at 1,000% down. And then Pilgangura's gone on to Pilbara Min.
Yeah, you fucked up pretty bad there.
Yeah, 1,000% down.
Yeah.
They're
making
I hope you
me sell the shares now because I own too little.
Oh, yeah.
Go figure. I hope you maintained confidence in the ore body and just bought some Pilbara shares on the way out.
Yeah, that would have been the smart thing to do. No, but I was very disgruntled, and I had it, and I hadn't invested in stocks then until actually I got a nice arbitrage off Musgrave thanks to you boys. That was actually the best win I've had since investing in
Thanks to
Altura.
you boys, mate. We don't provide investment advice. You fucking make the decision yourself.
Pat yourself on the back for that one,
Used it
mate.
as research.
That's only for when I lose. When I win, I'll give you credit.
Ah, beautiful. Can you tag us so we get a clip?
Hey, Koala, since you've been dialing in, and we want to make sure you feel the love and appreciation for attending at such an hour. Jesus Christ, what's going on in the world of Anglo BHP? Have you bloody put the deck down and just say I'm done? We saw some good coverage on X. Are we calling it X? No, Twitter.
I still don't call it X.
Nah. What's the goss, mate? Tell us something we don't know within 5 minutes.
Look, I think the big question now is the Anglo coal sales process. I mean, this kind of went the same way Tech Glencore, the only way it was going to work is if Tech shareholders shamed Dr. Keevil into engaging with Glencore, and he said, I don't think about you guys at all if you think about the madmen. It was basically every shareholder voting against EVR last year going, please talk to Glencore, Dr. Keevil. And he goes, I don't think about you at all. This one was BHP going, we insist on these spins, and Anglo going, well, it sounds like therefore this must be a friendly deal, and no. So where do we stand today? Anglo Coal's on the block. I think it was you guys who made the point that in 2016, in the moments of hellish desperation, Anglo talked about simplifying before, and then commodity prices bailed them out. I think the question now is how fast can the Anglo coal process go? And is anyone besides Gary at Glencore able to make a proper bid?
Hey, Koala, what's out there at the moment that I'm going to make shitloads of money of if you tell me to buy it now?
Coal.
No, like a 10-bagger.
Coal.
You'd have to, some people. Or is
Probably
it
not
coal?
copper, if we're being totally honest right now.
Oh, has it had its run, has it?
Koala, that sort of...
I feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of a post you did on the old Twitter the other day talking about how a unit of copper is sort of valued versus a unit of coal. I think the way you sort of put it was $3 versus $1. How are you thinking about the coal trade at the moment? Obviously, there was this huge run up in 2022, and then things came away as prices cooled off a little bit. But prices, met coal, thermal coal is sitting a lot lower, at least in Australia, where I tend to look. How are things positioned here and going forward in the next couple of years?
Look, I think on the met coal side, I mean, where are we today? Like somewhere between 220 and 250. Those are still great coal prices. And if that's where the new bottom is, then that is very interesting. Look, I think one of the things I've been kind of harping on as a new idea is the irony of this whole ESG wave is Glencore has got the highest cost of capital of the big miners because of its coal in business, and yet it's almost in a better position because it's the only one who's able to invest in the highest returning opportunities in the mining industry. If my money costs 15%, but I can invest it at 30%, I do that all day, every day versus have 8% money and only able to do 10 to 12% IRR deals. I'm going to create more value over time. It's just a simple reality.
Glencore's totally in the best position of the global miners by 100%. A fucking country mile.
Do you think BHP will bid for Anglo's coal?
No.
Do you think they'll have a serious conversation about it?
FYI, we've got someone in the background here that's going completely against you on this.
we've
knows a lot about coal.
You brought some coal into the show, didn't you? Mate, can we pull it out?
We got a nod.
Chuck it on the fucking table. Who brought the coal into Parliament?
Parliament style, yeah.
Who's that?
Scott Morrison.
ScoMo. I feel like ScoMo here pulling coal out of a bag and fucking.
It's double wrapped too. Real dirty.
Jesus, right, it's like a bag of pingers. Oh, we can paraphrase what the silent person in
that.
here is saying
Yeah.
against what you're saying about why they wouldn't bid.
Oh, dirty coal, literally.
Look at that.
But such a beautiful investment.
It's actually kind of more impressive than I thought.
It glistens, doesn't
It
it?
does, yeah. It's actually got like some real precious elements to it.
Koala, I want to hear the answer to that one. Do you think there'll be a serious conversation around the board table at BHP around making a move?
No, I don't think so. I think the mandate to allocate capital to grow in future-facing commodities is there. If you ended up getting coking coal as part of a bigger corporate deal for Anglo, that's one thing. I think to deploy $4 to $5 billion of balance sheet capacity, if you're sitting on that board, which let's be honest, and we've talked about this a little bit before on Bird app, it's kind of almost a career achievement award. Are you really gonna say, yeah, let's spend $4 to $5 billion of capacity on getting more coking coal versus, oh, where do we get more copper?
Yeah.
That's just simply put. I think you'd have questions from so many shareholders of BHP.
Yeah.
In there, even if internally, I think if you go to BHP, Anglo, Rio, people, and they're not in front of a microphone, and they're not in front of, I think they all see that coking coal has a far longer runway than anything else. I think one of the lines I've been using recently is, everyone knows green steel will be in the car park in the 2040s, but one car in 1,000 car park is still a really long way to go. And I borrowed that from someone at one of these miners that says is no longer involved in coal.
Right. How about we get
Investors want what they want.
Let's get the opinion. We won't add it in, but we'll rebut. Just say what you think, and I'll ask.
What do you want me to do? Walk over?
No, just say it to us now. Why do you think they're going to bid?
Right. It's just the perfect fit. It's the same coal, the same strike, the same everything, all the way along that Moranbah seam. Fits with them, and then they control the met market. They just control it.
Perfect fit.
Perfect fit.
Perfect fit. Same coal, same seam. It's all along the same Moranbah.
Same seam.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's not the Wrangel's coal,
Yeah.
which is over there, the Point Joy, Millennium, Stanmore, the Whitehaven stuff down at Winchester.
Yeah.
It's that same small strike length. That's all we have, and it's the last of what's available of that same high fluidity, high quality, hard coking coal. So the stuff.
Is it this stuff?
No, that's shit.
Oh, shit. Shows you how much I fucking know about how to identify good coal or not.
Koala,
It only
wait.
makes so
Let me
much sense.
settle down, buddy. I'll ask it as a rebut, and then you can fucking go off your head. Right, Koala. The rebut from the little covert audience we got here is that it makes so much logical sense because that is it's all part of the same Moranbah seam along the same strike, and the last of, I guess, what's left of this high quality coking coal in this district, and it just fucking makes sense. Cobber, you're not going to take that shit, are you?
And what commodity are we talking about?
Coal. There's so you take the opinion that BHP's kind of laid their bed and they can't fucking bring to market a deal to acquire any more coal. I get that, but I also think that they're not gonna say that out loud while they're still lobbying the Queensland government around a royalty regime reversion in some respects. So I think if they have any success there, then they'll change their tune on the external messaging. But yeah.
Come on, guys. Those royalties are you're seeing no more investment in Queensland, but you're not seeing mines shut down. It's reset the cost curve structurally higher, which Respeculator on Twitter has made this point brilliantly a few times. You have some marginal mines that made their whole decade in 1 or 2 years, and now those windfalls are gone. So it's kind of reset the cycle. But I don't think BHP expects at this point they're actually going to get royalty relief. They might get the state government changed in the next election, but with their advertising and campaigning. But as the opposition, which I believe is the coalition,
We're being
the coalition
told
gets into power.
Yeah, we're being told not only One Nation's the one that had scrapped the royalty, and fuck all chance of them getting in.
Yeah, I think it just goes to the point that governments like having cash to spend.
Put it all in shit copper plays.
Bring the mic.
Oh,
That fucking bloody.
Yeah.
You know
Put it
how
all
fucking
in the-
mics work, mate. Jesus Christ.
Copper plays in Mount Isa. That's where all that royalty fucking money's going.
And if the opposition's the one who got you this cash windfall, so you're not the bad people that did the royalty increase, even better. You get to deploy the money. You don't get all the blame.
Koala, is there an analogy to buy, like, you know, the absurd kind of opportunity to buy these fucking beautiful assets at the moment? Is there any analogy in mining history that's occurred where you've had, like, you know, similar opportunities in a structural way? I can't think of them. Like buying coal from 2019,
I think
2020 onwards.
not on the same scale, but surely uranium after Fukushima in 2015 to 2020 is horrifically hated, on the way out. No new reactors are going to get built. I think that the mindset on a different scale, obviously the end uses are different and stuff, and coal is being mined at a much higher grade than uranium was in that period. But do you think that has similarities?
I'd say iron ore 2016, actually, because if you think about 14, 15, when China imploded, I mean, where did iron ore bottom? $36?
Yeah.
I remember buying like Cal 18 iron ore SGX futures at like 42, 45. People thought long-term iron ore was forever 40, 45, 50, 55. And look, Aussies don't like him, but JS Jacques at Rio did get one capital allocation decision right. He didn't chase a bunch of copper. He bought back stock and basically doubled down on iron ore until he bought enough back to the point that with the 15% owned by China, he couldn't buy anymore unless Canberra and Beijing came to a new agreement. I think that's the one other example where a collective consensus was this commodity's dead. There's never going to be another cycle. And now I think we're seeing that in coal. I think we're past the juiciest part of this, but it's still very juicy. I mean, what else is there out there? Otherwise, I can't really think of one.
Mm. He did tip a bit into OT, did he not?
That was already in motion.
It was in motion, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Scotty, you've made shitloads of cash off coal, you reckon? What are you? What's your thoughts, Cobber?
I've got 60% of my super in coal. So
What do you own?
balls deep. I've got WHC, YAL,
Yeah.
NHC,
Yeah.
Solpats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, double NHC.
Double NHC. It's that, like, they're just good operators, right?
Yeah.
So they're my bets, and I just go home and sleep on it.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's super. It's money we're probably never fucking going to get anyway.
Yeah.
Anyone need a beer? Everyone all good?
No, all good, mate.
Just fucking, I'm running the bar and I'm having a competition with myself to see how many tins I can sink in this. I'm going to line them up at the front.
Bryce, this is the quietest I've ever heard you be for, since we've kicked off this podcast. You're normally a chirpy fella.
I'm being polite, man. People are having their piece. So I don't want to cut in.
You've been thinking a lot lately about motivations of management who are at this, who are at the helm of mining companies. You sent to me a bit of a thought bubble that you had around, incentivization of management. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. I think a lot about optimality. Optimality assumes you know what you want, for one, right? And then...
Is that a word? I didn't even know that's a word. Optimality.
Optimality.
You're going to hear that next
Someone
week.
Google that one?
Don't worry about it.
Trav, your engineering small part.
Right,
Optimality is this idea that you can regress down, minimize error, maximize profit, whatever. But I find it's seldom that simple, right? And so a back and forth that we sort of tried to probe, where I reckon I need an intern to do the proper research on the numbers, is that if you've got a one pit, one mine operation, then yeah, increasing your EBIT of the operation, increasing your output, increases the share price. Pretty straightforward. But particularly as you start to go up into a bigger corporate, you get across multiple political regions, multiple commodities. I don't think it is that simple. And so you guys talk a lot about, you know, the low end of that Lassonde curve, right? About getting exploration up. But my life is in operations, right? I want to see people make money off these assets. You know, I don't want to think about people that are speculative looking at hype. I'm here for day to day. These people are doing a job, and how can we do better, right? And so sometimes that's technology, right? Which is where Augment comes in, and we look at better opportunities and give people better data to make better decisions. But other times it's about looking at the incentives. What are we actually incentivizing these people to do?
There? VRIFY is actually another good.
There's your advertisement.
Do you want to do the ad for us? Fucking go for it.
Just perfect opportunity.
Scotty, can't you see bloody Verify being complemented by Augment Technologies in a sponsorship rip? On bloody, and like it just such like between the AI capability, pretty much in Augment, like the AI capability to tell you where the fucking rock will be after you blow the living shit out of it. And Verify are the ones that have told Augment where the ore body is to drill. To bloody blow it up, and they tell you where it's going to go.
It's a good plug, mate.
I'm seeing an all-script merger here.
So, like, giving you an example, coming back to Optimality, right? We're Verify. I've checked out their AI, and I really rate it because
so do I.
Think about how many exploration projects have got up on their last fucking drill, and imagine how many fell over. If you gave them one more drill, they may have got up, right?
Yeah.
Verify are there talking about optimality, right? Where should we put that fucking drill, right? It's a tough question.
Verify and Augment Technologies are the only two companies in history to use the word optimality.
Can you make an intro there, Matty?
And it's talk about an absolute synergy. And look, mate, we got some contacts there. Like, if you want to have a yarn, or if anyone wants to have a yarn about the bloody Verify AI, because holy snap and duck shit, you'd be mad as a cut snake if you didn't.
How do you spell that? How do you spell Verify, mate?
AI. That's all you need to know. AI. No E. Oh, bloody, yes. Mate, I see yourself and Verify the new frontier of mining. It's like the Canva Magic Studio. Yeah. It's pretty much going to erase the need for Word and PowerPoint.
You need to do a rap with it, though, too.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Got to. We'll put it into GPT and I'll make it to the
give us 50 referrals and you get a free ad, everyone.
All right, Bryce, incentives.
Yeah. So look, take a mining contractor as an example, right? They get paid for moving tons. And yeah, here's a good hypothetical, right? Your mining contractor, head mining manager, walks into the wet mess, asks for his 4 tins of mid-strength beer. He's in a good mood because he's fucking delivered the tons. The mill is tons constrained. He's a champ, right? He sees in the wet mess, head Matt talking with the head process engineer, and they're shit. They're having a bad time. They want more tins because they're really sucking it. Because guess what? The metal isn't actually getting through the plant. The metal's either falling out.
Mid-strengths just doesn't take away the pain of the day.
No, that's why they sell vapes underground in the wet mess too.
No, you're not even allowed to do that anymore. Far out.
But you'd struggle on site if you went back to site, Matty.
No, that's why I had to get into had to be my own boss in a podcast.
But so here's my point, right? Is the Mets process engineer, which you could maybe tag Simon in for something on that. They're going, yeah, I know we got the tons. Our mill's tons constrained. You know, all our capital's being used good apparently, but for some reason the metal's just not coming out the other side, right? If that mining engineer, the contractor especially, if it's not in-house, if they thought, what if I change my incentives instead of being paid for moving tons? I got paid for moving ore.
Paid for recovering ore.
But well, you're talking about the contractors, right? We're doing loading and haulage, right? If they got paid for moving ore, when they accidentally move diluted ore that's not higher grade, it's a lower grade, or they accidentally take waste and put it in the high grade feed to the mill, right? They'd suffer. And if you actually paid them more to deliver ore, the mine would be happy.
Yeah, but
they would
they can
come through.
they can do that. Like it's how the contract's set up. Like like an underground contract, for instance, has always been levered towards development. The contractor makes money on development, but if the contract was incentivized to move you got a higher rate to move production ore, which is always the whole 65-35 production development ore. But all the bloody jumbo operators start whinging because they're like, that got nothing to do. I'm only getting $2,500 a day.
They took my
and the
nipper
whole
away.
thing's a big ball of fuck. Yeah.
Only $2,500 a day. Fuck.
Hey, they're on
Poor guys.
a bit more than that. Oh, back in my day.
Yeah.
No, but so this comes back to the point, right? Is that especially if you look at more complex operations, it's one thing to say if you've got binary, this is ore, this is not ore, this is waste, right? Then maybe it's easier. But you go through those kind of commodities, talk about rare earths and our critical minerals, right? They have hundreds of decisions to make around what kind of rare earth is this or what kind of high grade, medium, low grades. And especially when you're trying to reach optimality, right? Trav, we're thinking about the shareholders. You're thinking about beer, right?
Anyone want to
Trav's thinking about the shareholders, mate. Trav, I don't know. Trav's got he's got a war on finance.
He saw me wrapping up my
keep it
beer,
coming.
and he was straight to the beer fridge.
And mate, I reckon in 7 years' time, Trav is going to have changed the finance industry.
What made them alcoholics
you're
and
witnessing-
angry and cynical about the world?
It reminds
Pretty
me
sure
of
they're
The
already
Big
there,
Short.
mate.
Trav, remember The Big Short when he's like, you guys look like you still got some faith in the system. And he's like, I don't. Vinny does it. Simon, what about you, Cobber?
Simon's the smartest one of us all because
I-
he's not a delinquent on Twitter like all of the rest of us. But
I'm not on Twitter.
No one's on Twitter here except you, Trav. Trav pays for premium. Simon, you've
Got the blue tick.
like, being a processing guru, you've been through the whole fucking journey of designing plants, which is a massive bloody mammoth effort.
Fuck you,
And
you're
seeing them-
you're stretching my intro there.
Yeah,
It's
but
processing guru. I'm going to get the fucking
Processing
shit
guru.
pulled out of me on.
No, we won't.
Yeah, don't publish that.
You
bit.
get the silver medal to Nathan Stoitis. But give us a bit of insight into these study phases, like based on what you do know, trying to figure out what everything can go wrong and how things can pop up or fuck up when they actually turn the bastard on.
Yeah, no, that's one of my interests is looking at, and you boys talk about it a bit. I think with the studies from a PFS to a DFS to an execution, and the cost escalation that you typically see during that period. I like to look at that. We often see the mining side can fucking fuck the project. There's one we worked on, and I can talk about this one because the company's fucking collapsed. It was. Pardon me. It was NMG, Dougal River, so over in Queensland.
Yeah.
So lead zinc job.
Yeah.
We were building it or designing it. Forge Group.
Yeah.
So Forge Group collapsed.
Forge collapsed, yeah.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
We did end up redesigning it later for a company that still exists somewhat. So the job got built eventually, but the job sunk. Well, got put on hold in 2013 from memory because of the mining model. So we had a process design that was fit for purpose and that we could build our process plant around. But ultimately, the mining model, they couldn't get the ore at the grade to the ROM pad. So my knowledge of anything, and this is what I've taken from the podcast, a bit more knowledge upstream of the ROM pad. But ultimately that job fell over because the grade of the ore getting to the ROM pad, they weren't going to be able to take out.
That's why it's so important for
Abra.
drilling too. Like how
Abra,
important is
Galena,
to drill
perfect
good?
example.
Oh,
Yeah, and
Just
that's
the great, like, we were going to get this, we're now getting this.
I think there's even a few, listed companies out there that kind of hide that until they collapse, right? So,
But I mean, that job was so Forge had the EPC, full EPC, build the whole plant. I think it was 140 million back in the day. Nowadays, it would cost you, 300-400 million to build that same plant. So that escalation that has hit the market very hard in the last.
Where's that project at now? Well, I haven't.
No, it's delivered. So
Yeah.
we built that at RCR. So I did the journey there with the original design, and then Forge collapsed, and I was on the street as like a graduate mechanical engineer, and then I worked for a company that then did the redesign, and we actually designed it when they worked out their mining issues and fucking sorted out how to get the order to the ROM pad. And then I built it. I left that company, went and built it with RCR, who have collapsed. So it's a bit of a theme. Don't work for fucking mining contractors.
Mate, they are fucking horrible businesses.
It's a fucking tough game. Never invest.
Yeah.
So we built that at RCR. That cost was, a hugely reduced scope. The construction only was 100 million. So, that grew to effectively 100 million. RCR collapsed, not as a result of that one, but we didn't do particularly well out of it.
So is that an MMG asset these days?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that's in Queensland
Yes.
now,
Yep.
Isa? That's that right?
Yeah.
Is that because I remember when
It's a horrible accident there.
Copper Mountain
It was a double
sold
fatality, yeah.
Copper Mountain sold their EVA project, right? And that's not too far.
No, that's close to
That's
Cloncurry.
close.
It surrounds Dugald River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone thought fucking MMG should have bought EVA, but Harmony paid top buck for it instead. Is that right? Because there were
Yes.
genuine synergies if they just chucked in a different circuit at Dugald River. But
But Dugald River's, so Eva's copper, Dugald River's lead zinc, so that'd be
Yeah.
a whole new circuit.
They had to add a new circuit to it,
there'd
but there
be
was- there
synergies
was
in
synergies,
the
yeah.
interface.
But
And
you're talking about the
infrastructure.
mining contractors. This is sort of my point, right? Is that they were paid to deliver tons. They didn't care what was in it. They delivered it. And
Oh,
the mills-
sorry. When I say mining contract, I mean design consultancy
Yes.
type. Like, it's just fucking terrible game. The best case scenario for us is we make some 10%, or some contribution to the bottom line of sort of 6, 7, 8%, and that's best case scenario. And then these are lump sum hard money contracts. So we more often than not they end up sinking companies. So
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Especially with
This is
inflation.
that incentives
Well,
being aligned, right?
You go,
But
Koala.
isn't this why a mining company exists? Is if you really wanted an idiot like me could own a mine, contract out the mining, contract out the processing, and I could give the offtake to Glencore to contract out the marketing. But the way you're actually going to make this work is there's always a bottleneck to optimization. Let's use, say, Copper Mountain as an example, is something I looked a lot at 20 through when it got taken over by Hudbay in early 23. First, it was, can you maximize the throughput through the mill? But that meant you had to figure out, had they pulled forward high grading and they needed to do more stripping because of 2021 when copper prices were awful. They just took the grade, they didn't strip, and
Pack
so
the
now
eyes out of it.
the strip ratios, there's strip ratios blowing out. Can you get feed through the mill? And then, oh wait, do you actually have enough grinding capacity to optimize the grind to capture the recoveries? So someone has to be standing up there saying, hey, we can't get to forget the exact throughput, but let's just say we can get baseline throughput, but we're going to get 90% of target recoveries. But I'd rather do that than get optimal recoveries, but only 90% throughput. So there's always a project you can do in a mine to optimize. Hey, we need more grind capacity. We need more power.
But you come back to
we need another
optimality,
truck.
right?
But-
It's who's
but
optimality?
the mine manager has to be sitting there and going, okay, how do I make this all work? How do I structure the contracts so I can do individual performance, but also incentivize within the broader performance of the asset? I heard a story that let's just call it a mine called Water Black, if you will, that they had suboptimal ton size trucks taking things to the waste dump so the contractors could get their uptime and their truck utilization. And it's just like, okay, unless the people in charge of that mine are directly incentivized on performance and they can kind of see the translation of optimizing, optimality, optimization. That's where you can create real value. And that's where good management comes in, is saying, hey, actually, like, in a mine contract, yes, you want to get ore to the stockpile, but you don't want them to just chase ore and then wake up and you have a stripping problem. And I think let's use a Rio Tinto example. A few years ago, they had to start talking about selling this product called SP10, which was not Robe River, like 57, 58 good quality for Japan. It wasn't Pilbara blend spec. It was, we've kind of run our minds a little hard and we have this off-spec product that's not going to get benchmarked. Now, hopefully somewhere in the conversation of the iron ore division, that was a strategic decision, and then they knew they had to pay the piper at some point. But there has to be bigger decision-making to manage the contractors and make sure everyone interplays and is rowing in the same direction.
Yeah.
It's like this podcast, like at some point everyone has, before you do an episode, you kind of got to agree on the 3 or 4 things you're going to talk about before everyone can star
that
in their individual
happened.
parts.
Today.
Nah, free for all.
Yeah, loudest voice wins.
I think the best example of optimality that we've probably seen in the industry since the podcast has started has been the Rhino Sullivan flying over when the drills break down.
In a Brooks jet?
Yeah, in the Brooks jet to like fucking minimise the downtime, start manual drilling, and like I guess we're talking Rio Tinto and everything, Koala, but I just think that those big fucking blue chip companies should start taking a little bit from the smaller contractors to see how it's fucking done properly. And I think, Bryce, your bloody augment's probably going down the same road as that. It's that philosophy. You got to keep shit turning. You got to keep the AI running. It's just got to be going all the friggin' time.
Yeah. Our customers, if they got a problem, they call it, I'll answer and I'll help them, right? But we've got a big team now, and actually that's really what it should be, right? Spreading it across.
Calling people and the owners picking up, that's like that insurance company that...
CRE.
CRE.
Yeah.
Matty, can you think of another driller where the actual, an owner of the business come out and by hand get the core out for you?
Oh, look, it doesn't ring a bell, and probably someone that had actually come out without whinging about it, like...
Simon, would Forge have collapsed if Ryan was running the show?
Oh, no way.
Exactly.
No,
there we go.
David Simpson, sorry, mate, but if that corporate headquarters hadn't been relocated to Sydney, I think we might still be kicking around in Forge t-shirts.
There we go. Mate, some of the Forge, ex-Forge people have re-merged it. Is Visan, is there like a Forge connection to Visan? One of the guys?
Oh, yeah. So Primero was ex-Forge.
Yeah.
Those boys split out from Forge, but no,
Right.
you're stretching my knowledge
Do some
there.
homework.
Were those the guys that bought the rigs off Parenti?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah.
But it
So
grew.
a place I used to work at.
It grew.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Fucking, what'd you do there?
Looked after the logistics.
Yeah, right. There you go. How did you get into mining stocks?
Moved to WA.
Decided you hated money.
Decided I hated money. Thought lithium was going up. This was the first lithium boom.
Yeah.
And made some money then. I think 2014 was that the first lithium boom?
17, 18 was when it really kicked. Yeah.
So that's how. So I've been around since then, and then balls deep every night, every morning. My wife tells me off for looking at my phone too much.
Yeah. But she gave you permission to come here this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going from lithium stocks into
So you're in
thermal
the
coal,
doghouse.
that's quite the transition.
Yeah. Well, I'm bigger in other positions, but we won't talk about companies.
No, you actually had an idea, Scott, and I think of course I'd say we'd allow it because I got to do a ding 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 on it. But you wanted to do a pitch, a 1 minute stock pitch. Is that right?
Yeah, I thought. We were talking about ideas, and I thought, we were talking about ideas, and I thought, we could elevate a pitch, 60 seconds, and
give me your elevator pitch, 60 seconds
for
whatever you want.
So Kings Rose, KRM.
Oh, I love it.
Ding,
Now,
ding,
whatever
ding.
you want, you knew exactly that's what you were going to talk about.
Well, yeah. So Kings Rose, KRM.
Why zero EV?
No,
not anymore.
Not anymore. Since they announced probably the biggest junior major partnership with BHP. That is the way that deal is structured is no one's really structured a deal like that before. In
what sense?
In what sense? So the first part of the deal where BHP basically is paying KRM to just look at the ground. So they'll pay them $7.5 million a year for 4 years.
Yeah.
So 31-ish million.
And that's not an earn-in. It's just
no earning,
an option.
no equity, nothing.
Yeah.
They're just looking at the ground.
Yeah.
But
But they get the option to earn in.
Yeah, they get the option. So basically, if they like some of the ground, then they can choose a parcel of land, and then they'll spend up to 55 million to earn up to 75%. Yeah, so that's what's moved the stock recently.
And you're bullish. What Scandinavian?
Bullish
copper?
Scandinavian. I
Scandinavian
guess.
exploration, or
Well, I think Pennycat is probably the big one for them. So Pennycat is probably PGM, but like if not the highest grade undeveloped PGM deposit in the world.
Platinum's a bit in the toilet at the moment, though, right?
They're the complete
good time for it.
Well, I would say grade is king, like anything, right? Like the grade there is amazing, but we're not going to know until it's fully drilled. It's got, I think the government actually put some drill holes in it in the like 70s or something or 80s, and I think they put 100 holes into it and 99 of them hit mineralization.
But this, like, KRM doesn't trade like a PGM beta. It's sort of like the market almost doesn't, The
market is so short-sighted. I think the market's short-sighted in anything that end of the market. Like anything that's small, you just want drill results, or you want. That's what keeps going. So I guess because they're not actually drilling, it's not moving the share price, right?
Yeah.
And to be clear, it's an exploration play, right? It's not a developer with a PGM.
No, correct. So it's they've got 27 mil cash and they're a 35 mil market cap. So but they're looking to deploy that 27 million to pick up a copper play.
Is there not risk that they will, I guess they're well funded, they've got all this cash, BHP JV, decent asset as well in Pennycat. Like, is there not risk that cash gets, thrown at a bad project?
100%.
Right.
And that's the risk with anyone that's got, a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Is it SLS has got 16 mil?
Is that Solstice?
Solstice, yeah. They've got what? I'm not invested, but
16 mil. They traded a 16 mil market
so
cap.
I think all those types of companies, that's always going to be the risk, and that's on. You're hoping management can execute, and if they're good management teams, and Kings Rose has a good management team. So
at the end of the day, it's exploration as well.
Exactly.
Like we can be cynical and say they're going to piss the money away, but that's not really it, right? They're putting holes in which have a very small chance of success.
Exactly.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, BHP are paying an administration fee to KRM, so it's not like they have to dip into their own cash to maintain the exploration done by BHP.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Like KRM's cash isn't going to dwindle.
No,
as a result of the exploration done by BHP in any way.
Well,
shape,
that's
or form, right?
so Pennycat belongs to Kings Rose 100%.
Entirely, yes.
Yeah. So the BHP land, that's all they'll pay for drilling. They'll pay for a lot of G&A too.
Yeah, but Pennycat, there's a lot of uncertainty around permitting.
Yeah, so permitting...
That's one that the market really thinks is a low probability of being permitted. Is that right?
I would say not low probability, it's just the time frame. So in a couple of weeks, they should find out if they get the permit to drill.
Yeah.
Or if NGOs are going to push back on it. And then if NGOs push back on it, it'll be pushed out 12 months.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Strickland's a good example of that. Had all the cash from the Northern Star sale and then did the deal to buy this big Serbian project.
Yes.
Will it... Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's an example of like, once you got cash, you start doing deals, whether it's going to work or not, don't know.
Yeah. Have they put any rigs in there yet or anything? Have they? I don't know.
There's management change with that deal announcement as well. I think there's like a new MD and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, strange time. Yeah.
What about the elevator pitch here, gents?
Right. Mine, as I said, not invested in anything, so no dings. But
Pilbara at 30 cents, fucking buy.
Commonwealth Bank term deposits.
NAB. I guess my bias is more coming from where I want to work. So I'm probably jumping on at the excited end of the copper cycle, but I think I would probably start researching FQM. I think First Quantum in a bit of pain, obviously.
Non-consensus, like it.
And
Ding, ding.
La Granja
Interesting.
project in Peru. I think there's some good
La Granja.
La Granja. Sorry, my missus is Peruvian, so I should be able to get that one right. And there's a bias. I want to go and work there. So FQM.
They've got
design managers
in Perth.
They're sort of significant.
West Perth.
They got geos and stuff that look after Sentinel and
So
Shout out to the Loki hostel in Costco in Peru.
Mate.
Cusco.
Got fucked up
Mate.
there for 5 days.
I have that's one for you boys.
Does this-
Kayaveco
does this,
is the pronunciation, not Kaylaveco.
fuck that up, fuck
you
that
did fuck that up, mate.
Kayaveco.
Right, Koala, you're injecting yourself.
Does La Granja leapfrog Taka in Tristan's order of priorities once he gets Cobre Panama running again?
Oh.
This is a very fascinating topic.
I like they said once as well, because it's definitely coming. It's more of a when.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. Knowing that, like, fuck, you look at Peru and they had 5 presidents in about a year at one point. Even viewing the risk of not getting Cobre back up and running, I'm still interested in doing a bit more research in FQM. But and then the other one is London Exchange listed Atalaya Mining, copper again. Had the privilege of working over there in Spain for a while, and they're investing in some very interesting technology around taking a sulfide ore straight through to a copper cathode. So that's there's a bit about it online. So they're calling that the Elix technology, but what it'll allow them to do.
So bypass the concentrate.
Still concentrate, so still take it to a concentrate, but take that 25% roughly con,
Yeah.
or 20. They might go to a lower con.
Bypass the smelting.
Yes,
Yeah.
bypass the pyro, and then so that takes out the whole logistics piece of shipping it to Indo or China, and they can do that on site, theoretically, economically, viably, and that's being developed by a Spanish shearer called Ava Lane, and fucking interesting what they're doing. So that one could be big game changing for that whole Iberian copper peninsula. There's a shitload of arsenic in that, and this technology potentially allows them to tap into some of that arsenic heavy ore that they couldn't sell otherwise because of the deleterious elements of the arsenic. So that's an interesting one. They're talking about that. They got some announcements out about that. So that's an interesting one I'd probably look into if I
Fucking love it. Mr. Bryce Gower.
All right, so I got 2 questions.
Buy Augment Technology.
Wait,
Are you
private.
IPOing?
No,
Can
I'm
we get
private.
some fucking skin?
I
Get
want
some
that sort of
seed?
regulation. You might be able to get in, but that's a one-on-one we'll have. Not.
Yeah.
I want to hear the
hook us up.
rebuttal
I want oppies.
to getting Cobre Panama to start with.
Oh, look, we have a very good jurisdiction here in Australia, right? Mining
Geez, how
here
many
is
beers
great.
you had, mate?
Jurisdiction's good.
Edit that out.
We're keeping it in.
Damn it. So look, first world jurisdictions are really, really good, right? We're very lucky here in Australia, and you probably can't say the same for Queensland, right?
Go
just gloss over
Australia.
Queensland. And so when you start to look throughout the rest of the world, right, Latin America in particular, those countries really need this foreign investment, right? So when Panama was up and running, it was 5% of their GDP, and it brought great trickle-down wealth to the country. And they clearly have some political issues. Now, I personally think First Quantum are very good at dealing with these political issues, and even though it's a really uncomfortable situation and it's not great, that mine is needed for the world. We need it for our electric transition. We need it for so many things. It's just a matter of when. It's going to come back online, and that really is that point, right? Is that when you look at what the benefit to the country is, it's just a matter of when.
I guess the question is then on what are the new terms?
or do FQM own it at that point in time?
I think they've got pretty good claim to that.
It's also just a matter of time that Panguna comes back. I just want to point out a matter of time can be a really long time. Hopefully not in this case.
I'm not familiar with that one, Koala. Can you give me the TLDR on that one?
There once was an island off of Papua New Guinea called Bougainville where Rio had a mine. The locals did not like. There was a civil war, and without even getting a chance to park the trucks
Isn't
and shut
that
it down
a listed
right,
company?
they ran
Australia?
away in the middle of night.
One announcement a year. Just
Yeah.
saying
That
it's
was a
still
beautiful
closed.
poem. I'm so impressed with that
they're
poem.
listed in Australia on the ASX, something like that.
Yeah.
One announcement a year, and it's called "No, we're not allowed to go check on the mine."
Yeah.
What's the ticker? What is it?
Yeah, someone was trying
Yeah,
to sell
so
it to me the other day.
I was seeing it up there. It just says like Bougainville continues to be closed.
Yeah.
Bougainville, mate. That's fucking. I want to go to that mine.
Yeah.
Spelled slightly different.
Trav, I've looked into it.
Oh, I'm so curious.
And look,
now.
Vicunia's not coming on till late 2030. So yeah, we probably need that.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Koala,
Go
who's
ahead.
But that
Who's-
hasn't changed
who's
from
chipping
last year.
into
We
the
needed it last
vicuña?
year as well. Like that hasn't changed.
But it's
yeah.
great, and also you want to think about logistics, right? To be able to ship from the Panama Canal, right? Like that's fucking top, right? Like it's a matter of when, right? And this is sort of that
There's
point.
no
I
pirates.
just, I've seen that. I don't know much about Panama. I've seen a bit what goes on in Peru, and the government tend to cave pretty quickly when the people want something. Last time I was there, there were highways closed from Arequipa down to the coast, which blocks Cerro Verde from shipping out their export.
Yeah.
And it's just like the mother-in-law had to run this fucking blockade, getting stones thrown at her and all types of shit.
Yeah.
It's just the people hold a lot of power in those countries, and the governments tend to cede to what they want. And if FQM haven't managed that well, then they might have shut the bed.
Yeah.
I still want a job at FQM, so
But that is where
I don't know nothing.
Politics are really difficult, right? And so it's a whole other layer of mining that like we shouldn't even try and play in. But I've been to Sentinel and I've been to Kansanshi, boots on the ground, and what First Quantum do to invest in those communities, in their education, and they support those workers. Zambia is absolutely getting so much out of First Quantum being there, right? And that they did and will continue to do, I'm pretty sure, the
Social
same
license
thing every other
is so
jurisdiction.
important.
Yeah,
So
incredibly.
important.
I think Rio read the room pretty well with La Granja before they sold that off to FQM, and I think they've been doing a good job there. So that's the reason I think that project probably gets up.
Yeah.
Rio for a long time have been working with the community, and FQM up. Hopefully they've learned some lessons in that, and they picked that up. And FQM, from what I know, I've never worked with them, but they self-perform.
But you wanna?
A lot of work. I'd be happy to work in Peru. They self-perform a lot of work, so they don't go to us and give us a big contract. They self-execute, and they do it pretty good. So I like that. I'm always impressed by that. It's the MinRes style.
One of the things that First Quantum has done is with Cobre, this was a couple of years ago even, they have a whole core of like really young people who helped build Cobre Panama, did the engineering, did the execution, and they basically gave them an incentive program to stick around for the next First Quantum project. Yeah, they have that team. That team has done incredible work, and they've kept that team. And hopefully that team has still stayed together. To your point, man, it's what they do should be replicated in most other mining companies. Brilliant team.
Koala, I want to compliment you on your lovely shirt you got on in your casual premises. You must be rich as fuck.
What are you talking about, mate? It's a fucking koala in a eucalyptus tree. Look,
Yeah, I know, but you can see,
munching on
like,
some
you
fucking
can see his nice little white button-up shirt there. Looks like a businessman. Looks like he's wealthy. Koala, give us the pitch. Far out. You'd have a bit of
No.
fruit fingers.
We haven't finished the last pitch. Don't worry.
So you're hijacking pitches now before your own.
Yeah, and
pitch.
also, what happened to 60 seconds? Are you going to edit that down or?
Nah, just speed her up. You sound like
I only listen to
a
a podcast on 2X anyway.
No, you'd be right. You sound like a chipmunk.
So do I have to pick a mining stock though? Because I like mining tech. I want to put mining tech on the table.
if it's listed,
If it's listed.
yeah, ASX. Yeah,
and
I like,
you got to do ding ding.
Jeez, what do you reckon about?
yeah, I like Imdex.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the ticker?
Can't remember.
Okay.
Don't want to guess it.
Don't like them that much.
All body knowledge, right? Like they've come out a big windfall in the past off all their services. They're looking at tech plays now.
Are you trying to get bought
This
out?
is so hilarious, and we will tell you why one day.
Yeah. Are you looking for a bid for an index?
Can you tell us later?
anyone who understands the potential value of my company is welcome to make a bid. But I
What
honestly,
are we looking at? $10, $20, $50?
Don't give it away to verify.
But the reason why
think,
I like
mate,
them if we're doing
consolidation,
a 60-second
M&A.
pitch, right, is that look at the acquisitions they're making, right? They know what makes a complete ore body knowledge package. And like I said, at the other end of the Lassonde curve, where you're trying to get the money out of these operations and actually get the resource to the world, which is what we fucking need for our supply chains, right? We don't need speckies making money on the climb and the peak. We need actual metal in our world, right? And IMDEX are a big part of getting that out at a good rate. That's my pitch.
There you go. What about if they
liked
get
it,
some
mate.
competitors against them?
Oh, I'm sure they could try. That's inevitably the market, right? You've got to learn to fight. Everyone's got competitors, and hopefully you can just end up having a good market share between them.
And there you go.
Very political.
Koala.
Right, Koala, wait, what's giving you a bloody, what's paying for the next set of suits, Cobber?
Look, I think on the private side, I see a lot of interesting things, but this is not a podcast to talk about private opportunities.
Palace.
I'll give you.
If you can get us in on it, it will be.
I'll give you two.
Flick me some seed, bro.
Little close to home. Two. I didn't see the clap, guys. Two names. One a little degenerate, one a little more down the fairway. First, I'll say the Metals Company. The International Seabed Authority meets this summer. It was, and it was a disaster.
It's just,
Undersea mining, this one?
mate, sure. Sorry,
Yes.
I don't use the word scam lightly, but I've heard that word used in reference to this company.
Oh, the pipe. Half the pipe didn't show up. Was
Yeah.
fraudulent subscriptions.
Wow.
The nodules are there. The International Seabed Authority meets this summer. I think we'll get some good indications of progress here. And I think the sentiment in the world is slowly evolving here to the reality that if the West isn't going to do it, China's probably going to show up with a vacuum and suck up these nodules themselves. So it's not like if we don't do it, no one else will.
Sounds like
So I think you
Diamond
get
Field.
over the next 12.
Good reference, mate.
I said sounds like Diamond Field.
I'm spacing the connection. Diamond Field's Voices Bay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Off the coast of Namibia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, good point. Good reference with the diamonds there. The other one, but so my thought process here is pretty like I'm an investor in the company that has the royalty on this. But the way I kind of see it is this is
You gotta say
going to
ding, ding,
happen.
ding, Koala.
Ding, 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 Koala. For fuck's sake.
But the way I kind of see it is I think you're going to see markets and the world start to understand this opportunity a little bit better. We need metal. We need it done responsibly. So this is a little bit of a permitting and sentiment play over the next 12 months, and it's a great resource. So that's the degenerate play. I have my own model on it of what Project Zero looks like. I won't put those numbers out in the domain right now. But look, I think it's an interesting one. I don't own any of the stock, but I think it's a conversation we should be having as we think about responsibly mining the world.
I'd
What's
rather
the
own the
alternative,
royalty.
guys?
I'd rather own the royalty than the equity of the.
Is the royalty
like the
company
stock.
the royalty company's private, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Can
But
we
what's the
jump on
alternative here,
the-
guys? We're going to strip mine. We're going to cut down the Indonesian rainforest and strip mine Indonesian islands to the point that they're below sea level to get laterites going. Like at some point here, like we have to think about the realities that we need metals. This whole idea of a circular economy where we're just going to be able to recycle the existing metal stock while the super region from Indonesia all the way to Morocco, through Southeast Asia, India, the Arab world, let alone sub-Saharan Africa. Like all these people want our lifestyle, and it's where the population growth is. Like, come on, guys, we're not going to like as European population shrink or North American population shrink. It's not like we're going to tear down some third-tier city in the central United States, take that scrap, remelt it, and then ship it to Africa to make a new city. That's just not how this works.
Yeah.
And also the steel isn't of the spec we need. So I think there's something going on here. I think TMC as a degenerate trade is interesting. And then the more down the fairway one to our coal conversation, no position, natural resource partners, NRP. It's an MLP, so the foreigners may be frustrated by this, but the very high level pitch here is 250 million of free cash flow, 1.1 billion of market cap, 1.3 of enterprise value, will be debt free in 12 months. Then it will become a dividend machine. What's the split? 20% soda ash, 20% thermal coal, 60% met coal from West Virginia, and a little bit of Alabama. And it's a royalty. And the royalty off customer counterparties are Alpha Metallurgical, Ramaco, and Oak Grove, effectively, and a bunch of privates. I just think at that valuation of, call it 4 times free cash flow, 12 months out once you have the debt down, to be in a royalty position, given where I think coking coal is going and where it's going to be through a cycle. I know that stock in my eyes could be 50 to 100% higher, and it's something that, as Respeculator says, there's the Koala's HODL pure play coal stocks. That's Warrior, that's Whitehaven, Glencore. I don't know. NRP might become the 4th one there.
A great guy that should come on the podcast.
Respeculator would love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
I remember posting on
Spewing
Twitter.
he's shut down his Substack.
Substack's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's back on Twitter again. But
He
yeah,
had a week off. He was prepping for State of Origin.
was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he a Queenslander or
He's
a
a
New-
Queenslander.
Oh, what a fuckhead.
I know. That's why I use him.
What are the odds of Respeculator coming on a potty one day, do you think?
Don't know. Maybe you have to
Trav,
go to him.
wait till they come
Zero.
to Ask Cobber and we'll let them know if we've got a fucking gap for them. We're not desperate. We'll fucking let you know when you can come on a Respeculator. That's all you need to know, Kyle.
I'll suck his cock for it.
You would too. You're fucking got a
I've
bloody...
never sucked a
Bryce, you had
Such
some
a-
rebuttals there.
That will be the first one.
Bryce, you had something to say
Shout
about
out Trav's mum. If you're listening, that's your son.
Nothing says mining like the fact that we just presumed his gender. That's mining still today.
State of Origin, mine, he gives it away.
Bryce, you had something to say about
Bloody good point, Buck.
TMC.
Well, it was less about TMC and more like how he was jumping on the responsible mining thing, because I think that's super important, right?
Yeah.
How does a tiny little spodumene deposit in Africa or a lepidolite deposit in China mine at a cheaper cost than our tier 1 massive deposits here in Australia, right? Like there's something going on there and it's not being priced in. And I think the responsible part is a huge part of what we need to look forward, especially coming back to mining tech, right? I think that is a solution that needs to be uniform globally across all commodities, is to track that responsibility. And that really should affect the price. And look at what Bellevue doing, right? With their green gold, they're leading the way there. And they're going to need to be able to verify that somehow throughout the market.
Love it. Love it.
But, you know, this is where technology is going to come into play, right? So a blockchain kind of solution, right, would be able to prove how green they are if it trickled down through.
Yeah, and to add on that, like I've heard this talking point so many times in the mining industry, like, oh, we can have verification via blockchain, and it's an absolute fucking load of shit.
Come at me, bro.
So you like blockchains can enable trust. You can have trustlessness via blockchains if it is a digitally native asset. You cannot have trustlessness if it is a physical asset that you're trying to like bridge to a digital domain. That requires an auditor. You can't have a fucking that requires trust. Well, fucking there you go. You just have the most expensive way, like the most expensive database you ever fucking needed to try and create trust. And blockchains are very fucking expensive, and it's just a dumb way to like try and like assume that you're going to have this fucking like trail of control. It's a load of shit because someone has to say this piece of metal now goes on the blockchain 1 for 1.
Mate, Trav, when he has high conviction on something, please argue.
There's a lot
with
of assumptions in that rant there, Trav.
No, it's not.
You just
It's
position
fucking-
it a little bit less as a binary ultimatum and you'd be right. But there
No,
are
it's
subtle
fucking,
pieces
there's
there.
not a lot of assumptions.
No,
there.
Trav never thinks he's wrong.
So there's a lot
That
of...
is right.
There's a,
That is 100% right.
He
There
admitted
is,
to me once that he has changed his mind.
He's admitted he's wrong off camera. I won't lie. But do you agree if you're classing yourself as mining green gold by buying carbon credits? That's not fucking green gold.
No.
Well,
I class green gold as green on site, not having to top up carbon credits to say you're green.
And there's a
Everyone's
degree of
fucking
greenness,
doing
right?
carbon credits now. So, like,
Yeah,
is that
but what,
oil companies
we'll
fucking
pay
green
money.
oil?
We'll pay money to get this title. Effectively, like bloody JD pays the carbon offset for Qantas flights.
Well, I mean,
It comes through on the receipt. I'm like, I'm not fucking paying for this.
I get called
$4 out of your own
I
pocket.
get called the stingiest one here, and I pay $3 on a fucking flight to put the fucking thing on. I don't get how that works, but at the end of the day, Matty, it's what the market sort of thinks of it. And if the costs come out $100 an ounce higher because of what they're doing, you see what the market thinks of it. Whatever.
Yeah,
like,
but do you think that how much of that, like say you're paying X amount for a carbon credit?
yeah,
How much?
I do.
What percentage of that is actually saving carbon? Like
$35 at the
30,
moment.
like
It's
35%.
$35 a ton.
Yeah.
No, that's how much the carbon credits are in Australia at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, but like all the fucking administration and court, like it's like donating to a charity.
Yeah.
Like 30% of your money's actually going to that cause. The rest is overheads.
And at the end of the day, does the person buying the gold watch or the gold beer jewelry fucking care, right?
Well,
and that's,
but that's
the big
so-
thing.
it's- All right, hang
But it's
on.
not, it's
Let
not
me-
for them. No, it's not for them. It's for fun. It's for a fund that
Yeah.
has wrapped themselves in ESG branding. So the idea being that you're going to expand your potential set of investors by like 20-25% of
Yeah.
capital.
Which I think
Yeah.
Bellevue's
But
doing
then, of
great,
course,
right?
you're-
Their investors have that mandate where they have to invest in green investments, right?
Yeah.
And there is a premium on the share price for that reason, right? So it is working in some degree.
So you
and to
think
be clear,
they-
it's not entirely carbon credits. Like they are making their life a bit harder if you're a pure capitalist looking at it by having the solar panels and all these sorts of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, but you're topping up the
Yeah,
back end of it.
Division
to-
of capex to
yeah.
with
opex, though,
carbon
JD,
credits.
right? If you're able to get cheap capital, you want to lower your opex, right? So the solar and the wind is amazing for that, right? And Bellevue again, looking at the way they operate, they want to actually not do a flat 24/7 massive we mine uniformly no matter what hour of the day it is.
Yeah.
They want to try and actually hit those peaks of the free energy.
Talking about energy, what about Silverstone? You reckon they're in there?
I love the fucking way you think.
But
we
the
only
thing
do
of this-
2 ads a show though.
I think this is just an episode
Close your
where
black book,
everyone
mate.
gets a plug.
I'm just trying to help you guys out.
I
here.
like how Silverstone do the shit energy and the good energy.
This is just energy.
They still pump some diesel stuff out, but hey, we could do solar as well.
There's another
Turnkey solution.
There's another fascinating commodity which has come up in the show recently with regards to how consumers view it, and that's De Beers and diamonds, lab-grown diamonds.
Yeah.
You know,
We had a discussion about this.
yeah, and they're coming down massively in cost. That's damaging De Beers, although
Same as graphite.
I would argue that De Beers has a luxury brand attached to it, which
They've come out in the last couple of days and saying they're going to start a retail outlet called De Beers, competing with Tiffany's.
Cute.
but there has been a luxury part to it for a long time. But the carbon intensity of lab-grown diamonds
Oh, really?
at the moment, I'll cook
Is
the
that because there's
numbers.
so much carbon in diamonds?
That's out the top drawer. Very good.
Carbon sink.
But the energy going
Drunker
into them
by the
is
minute.
is like you're weighing up two very difficult things as a consumer, thinking on one hand, you don't want to support a mine in Sierra Leone. On the other hand, this is way more carbon intensive. And Trav,
I trust Jean Jabert every day of the week, man.
How good is... Oh, mate, I wish he got 50 referrals. We could have got him in here.
what
He
do you
would have
think?
knifed
What do
you,
you
I
think?
reckon, Trav.
What do you think we would have spoken about with him?
I don't
Fuck,
think
mate, what was it like getting...
Trav versus John on
No,
Sierra
I want to know
Rutile.
what Benny's like.
Tell me. What's
He's
it
a
like
right-hand
being
man.
the front
Is it
man
like
for
an
Benny
AV?
Steinitz?
Is it like being an AVZ holder and they just come at you?
Mate, John, if you're listening, moneyofmine.com, get your unique referral code, and if you get 50, mate, you can come meet Trav. with a police escort, maybe.
Can we just swing back to the Bellevue because I don't know enough about it? But you said they ramp up and down. What's that about? So
Well, it's this idea. If you've got wind and solar, you have two different peaks in when
you're saying they're
those
running
So
generate-
they got a massive fucking crusher, so that they pretty much crush everything in day shift,
righto.
utilising
So they're doing- okay.
utilising
So
as
the wet-
much
the wet
solar
plant-
as possible.
The wet plant runs 24/7, normal
So
operating regime.
because they're still on
oversize
the gas
crusher to-
pipeline, right?
And so
So
you've
that's
got,
a- that-
so
I like that.
10% of your kilowatts run at this nominal rate. Who gives a fuck? And then your mill run, the other fucking 30 megawatts or 10 megawatts, whatever it is.
The real
just
intense
runs through-
bit.
Yeah, the actual intense bit just keeps running. Which is
So
good.
there'd be a bit
Yeah.
of wind supplying it in the evening, but I'm not sure if there's any battery storage
No,
harnessing.
that would be a good mix, and they're not close enough for wave energy, which is the other peak in the like trifecta, right? Wave, wind, solar catches all your peaks, but the Pilbar's not too good for that. But I want to come back to blockchain, mate, because you made a lot of assumptions.
Yeah,
there,
fucking
right?
get into
there
I know
is-
more about this than you.
Trav, you
talk
think
about,
you know shitloads about something sometimes.
So should
but
we go into
sometimes you're
homomorphic
wrong.
encryption then, or zero knowledge proofs? Where do you want to dig?
Yes,
Yeah?
let's talk about fucking Mimblewimble and zero knowledge proofs. I'm fucking happy to go there. Oh, mate, I promise you, I fucking know what I'm talking about here.
Let's do this then. So there is a
this
really
is why I
cool.
love you,
Nuts.
Trav.
Like, let's fucking go there, man.
But
Like-
let's dumb this down. Let's dumb this down for the audience, me.
Yeah, you use
know,
big words
I
that I
don't
have no
fuck
idea what
all
you're saying.
about blockchain.
Yeah.
But I'm picking up
So-
what Trav's putting down here.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you trust an auditor to go and
Trustless.
verify
Trustless.
that? No, but I get that. I don't understand the technology, but I get that a digital product can
Yeah.
be
So,
verified direct
Fair-
1-to-1.
Yeah, look, I'll give fair props to Trav. It's fucking hard and no one's actually done it yet. But there are some really good companies that are pioneering this space because I think it's important. One of the angles is called metal DNA, right? Which is this idea that if you were to assay it or scan it in some
So you're
particular
going to buy an
way,
XRF scanner for every fucking...
Nah, gold. Gold's got a DNA. You can tell where each bit of gold's come from.
he's on it.
Yeah.
He's on it.
Time
If you-
out, guys. That's at the refinery. That's at the refinery, not necessarily at the concentrate at
Correct.
the mine.
Yes,
You can
correct.
track it from the smelter. But can you really tell me if a piece of copper originated from Koala or from some domestic mine in China?
No, so gold's different.
Yeah, but this is the point, Koala, which is where we've got to look at how this applies globally. And some people are actually looking at putting tracing elements inside their concentrate that they ship outwards to give things unique signatures because of the importance of mining responsibly, right? And each signature would be unique enough. You can apply encryption schemes. And your brain's trying to work, man. What are you doing? But like this is exactly that point, right? Where blockchain is one of many solutions. There is no silver bullet here. But when you look at what BYDs are doing in Europe, right? It's because China is smart enough to know they don't need to make money on mining. They can just be as inefficient and disrespectful to the environment as they can because they're going to make money off manufacturing. And we need that provenance, right? We need a mechanism in all materials to be able to incentivize the correct behavior, which is being responsible to our environment, rehabilitating the areas mined, and paying that premium to people who actually are going to be able to keep us around as a society and not destroy our atmosphere and our planet. Our biodiversity as well.
I agree with you. It's important. I disagree with the heightened probability that blockchain is this fucking solution for anything other than a digitally native asset.
Let me take another spin then, right? So this is a different concept. Have you heard of Keep the Gold in the Ground initiative?
No. Oh,
Alan
yes,
Alan
I have.
Trench.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the idea would be in the exact same way that JORC, SAMREC, NI 403, all these guidelines and in some cases legal rules. So the point is, right, is that they define really clearly how exploration people can define resources and reserves, right? And then from there, we fucking mine shit, right? But imagine if you had that stringent controls on the data submitted and the estimation methods that you could substantiate the worth of the ground, right? And so then you tie the unique data to an encryption scheme that ties value to that gold. so that you don't have to mine the gold, but you can sell a digital asset of finite value tied to each ounce that is verified by the estimation.
Who's
Why
verifying
bother
it?
with gold?
Who's verifying it by the estimation?
Renee's
Verify.
Because we know
You
people.
need a fucking auditor.
Renee Stirk, he
You
can
need an
audit it,
auditor.
right? But it's if you run it properly as a Web3 initiative, right? It's a decentralized, autonomous organization that audits that, right?
Oh, the DAO. Yeah, let's talk about how effective.
Oh, geez, how could that go wrong, Bryce?
You're not going to get the Travs and the Koalas of the world to play ball on this, because what you basically just described is how Nova Gold is going to say Donlin Gold is 40 million ounces in the ground at like 2 grams per ton, and ignore the fact that if you ever actually had to take it out of the ground, you got to get LNG, you got to spend $10 billion.
So
And,
that just
yeah,
affects the price that
2,500.
it can sell for it, right? So let's say you sell that gold at 1/10 of the actual spot price, right? Does that make it nice, especially because it's a liquid asset, right? You can sell it as quick as you can buy it. So by putting that on an exchange, it's an interesting idea, right? I'm not saying
But
we
you're
should jump out and
but
do
you're
this
really
right
creating
now.
then you're creating though essentially degenerate tokens for stuff that look, everyone's entitled to do whatever they want with their own money. I think individual responsibility is a very important thing here. But if whatever we want to call, I mean, how do you agree on what's the cutoff? What's the cutoff grade we use in our resources? Do we use pit constrained NI 43101? Do we use JORC, which doesn't have pit constrained on the inferred? Isn't this actually just what junior mining is right now? Like, and I'll use Donlin as the example.
I think that actually supports my point, though, right? Is that you go in and buy something on the ASX, you're buying a stock, right? I'm not actually buying the gold. I don't care, right? This is an equivalent to that. It allows a mechanism of investing. It's not tied to a magical bit of electrons on a hard drive. It's actually tied to a physical asset in a way that would be verifiable, right? But it would mean
The only way that's worked to date is these trusts. You know, and that exists in the digital token ecosystem. It also exists in the securities ecosystem, where you have securitized denominations of physical trusts, and that's the only.
Let me just make
Does this ring bells of derivatives for mortgage-backed securities? like this is another. It's essentially going to be a derivative of something that exists already, and another way to punt on it. And we saw how that fucking went downhill.
Hold on. Why do we need the blockchain for this when we can all lose our money buying junior miners already?
I'd rather lose my money doing the most delinquent of the delinquent derivatives of
So
delinquency.
technically, if there's 2 ways you can lose your money, you got 50% less chance of losing it on one of them.
The reason why you would lose your money in this insanely over technically innovative way is because it means it doesn't get mined, right? And so maybe gold, do we really need to mine it to put it in a basement and vault somewhere in New York? That's a fair question. But maybe we don't apply this to gold. Maybe this is a really good green initiative to apply to coal that allows us to have a good reason to actually explore the initiatives, find more coal, be happy we found more coal, and put a price to it without actually mining it and burning it.
But
that's
how do
great. But you just
the-
described a price on carbon.
Yeah.
That's like.
Do we have that now? Is that working well?
Well, no. There's like derivatives of it depending on where in the world you live. But
Yeah.
Right, Mr. Gow, how do you guarantee that smart people that love money aren't going to exploit this?
How do you ever guarantee that, man? I mean,
Well, you
we're
can't.
sitting here in a room with beers.
Because
We're
they will
obviously able
find
to
an
solve
edge.
the world's problems.
They will find an edge, and they will exploit it and turn it into a weapon.
Isn't that called the efficient market hypothesis?
Oh.
I skip that.
Jeez, we're getting
None
deep.
of our audience believes that.
We're getting deep here.
We've got, I think, 10
Jeez,
minutes before we've got to wrap up.
Can we talk about uranium?
Yeah. Koala, what do you think of Nexgen?
Oh.
Okay, while you're thinking, can I just jump in here with?
He's a mark.
Put your fucking mouth to the mic,
Sorry,
motherfucker.
can I? Why you think he did an interview? Lee did an interview the other day with
did.
Antonio.
Yeah, and
I like Antonio.
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
Nah.
I watched the Antonio. I've watched the Rick Roll one.
So talking about that, their marketing spend is literally linked to ounces in the ground or whatever is the most stupid fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
They're saying their G&A compared to their market cap and all
no,
that
but ounces.
shit.
He was talking about ounces in the ground.
He said ounces in the ground.
Pounds.
Well, pounds in the ground,
right.
whatever it is. Yeah. That is ridiculous.
It's fucking ridiculous. And as I said, it's disrespecting the ore body. Just because you got a good ore body, don't fuck it by spanking cash.
And sponsoring an F1 team.
Yeah, mate, I went on Twitter Spaces the other day.
I heard you.
Oh, yeah. And my argument is...
I thought you went on Twitter.
I actually don't like... If they were recruiting people to work on that project and they're in development and they're about to launch off, sponsor an Aston Martin or a hockey team to gain a social recognition to recruit people is like, this is the business to work for. I'll be like,
So support the local community, not fucking
But
Aston
right
Martin.
now,
Exactly.
they haven't
Jesus.
even, they're not even fucking developing it. They haven't got the funding for it, and spending it now is a piss take.
Yeah. Sorry, Koala. Over to you.
So, first of all, I think the NAV and how it's scoped out in the most recent public feasibility study is overstated. What is it, 20 plus million pounds? Like they're talking about being 10 plus % of the market. I think it's far more rational to think that they're going to go something smaller and then do an expansion in years 5, 8, or 10 to get to the full scope of this thing. Because think about what it would take to place 20 plus million pounds.
It's 29 for the first 5 years, I think.
So, okay, then let's use that number. Let's use 25 just to make this interesting. That is 50 reactors, assuming 1 gigawatt for a reactor. And no one's going to actually commit to just one mine for their offtake. So you're not going to be 50 reactors. You need to basically be a percentage of like 200, 250 reactors. Oh, and apparently I want to do everything on market-linked, spot-linked pricing with no base fixed price or floor ceiling. I think it's far more rational to do smaller earlier and then expand in the future once you've established yourself in the market and stabilized and proven the operation. But then you wouldn't be able to show the sexy NAV to the world. It's a world-class ore body, but I think it shows up in the 2030s, not as fast as they're talking. If management left, I think the stock would probably pop because it just seems like shenanigans left, right, and center. And I've heard no good reason for why they did a convert to buy physical uranium. And by the way, if you want to do market-linked contracts where you're linked to the spot price, if you don't perform into a spot contract and utility has to go buy at the spot price, where's the damages per se? So, and also what utility is going to be completely exposed to the spot price? I know uranium is a small component of the price of nuclear, but in a world of regulated utilities and regulated prices, who is just going to be short their feedstock, even if it's only 4 or 5% of the cost of nuclear power? It's an amazing asset. I don't own it. I think they're going to have to go the distance because it's clear. I think there's 2 potential buyers here, Cameco, and everyone's got to look back and realize, go back to pre-Fukushima. Cameco had a path plan to go to 50 million pounds, and it didn't involve the west side of the basin at all. So Cameco actually has things they can do besides just Cigar Lake Phase 2, which they do have to do to extend that mine. So take Cameco off the list and nuclear strategic. I think BHP has more important things on their mind, like fixing Olympic Dam and expanding the uranium production there in South Australia before they're going to go spend billions of dollars chasing uranium in the Athabasca Basin.
But if they expand Olympic Dam, that's what going to go to maybe 10, 12, 13 million pounds. It's not going to move the needle for them. It's bloody low. They mine a shitload of stuff at very low grade uranium.
I don't have my notes in front of me, but I think from memory it's like 10 million pounds. And if they expanded Olympic Dam, copper would go up 50%. Uranium would go up more than that, though, because they would also be able to process the Prominent Hill concentrates through the two-stage smelter. So instead of the uranium being a penalty where the Prominent Hill concentrate is shipping it today, they could capture it. So that would be one of the synergies out of the Oz Minerals. So,
why tell me why Kazatomprom couldn't buy Nexgen?
Tell me why.
Because I think Canada would have a lot of questions.
But could they? I think
Why?
Could they separate themselves from Russia?
They don't even let
Well, no, okay. So think about Kazatomprom very simply. It's 75% owned by the Sovereign Wealth Fund. 25, 30%.
25% is floated.
They have the resource already in the portfolio to probably maintain their share of the supply stack when nuclear actually starts growing in the 2030s. Why would they go to a new jurisdiction and sink billions of dollars when it's all sitting there in their backyard?
But is it actually? So from September last year, they were going to produce 80 million pounds in 2025, and now they're probably going to battle to produce 50. And whether that is sulfuric acid only, or actually back in from 2005 onwards, they took all the good shit, and they won't actually be able to produce that on a 100% subsoil use agreement.
The official guide, as it stands today for 25, is 100% subsoil. I think if you look at broker consensus is at least 10% below subsoil. Let's see what the official August update looks like when Kazatomprom updates the market. Last year when they updated the market, uranium flew, and ironically the stock flew as well because they downgraded guidance. The sulfuric acid plant comes in 26 or 27. I think that's when things sort of get sorted. But I mean, uranium's what? It's 83 today. It's been as high as 100. What are their cash costs? It's sub 20. It's the lowest cost uranium in the world. Even if they took quote unquote the good stuff, what does that mean? There's still stuff there that they could do at $30 a pound, $40 a pound. To me, if I was going to uranium,
that's one thing. It costs more, but can you get as much of it out in a year? Because if you've got less good stuff, you're not meeting the quota, and it costs more to get it out.
Well, no, you just need to put more cap. When you build new mines, you'll have to put more capital.
Yeah, but how's that work with the subsoil agreement? Because fucking beers keep falling over. Sorry, shout out, Dingo. How does that work with the subsoil agreement? Because if aren't it like 100% use subsoil use agreement, if you're going less good shit compared to good shit, you can't get more.
It's optimality again. You're talking about optimality.
But it's not one giant mine. It's a portfolio of mines and operations. The subsoil agreement is linked to each specific operation. So let's say you have a new mine and you have a subsoil on it. If you have to put 2 times the capital in to deliver on the subsoil, when you build the mine, you're just going to put the capital in. Like the legacy stuff, I mean, like if it's a question of sulfuric acid, that will get sorted. But you're really asking, is there more capital intensity to do lower quality stuff in Kazakhstan over the next 20 years? It's the same thing as saying Escondida was 2% copper, and today we get excited about 0.5% copper. And capital intensity's gone accordingly.
How do you think Budanovskoy is that going to be a kicker at all?
Budanovskoy, the Kazakh project?
Yeah.
Look, I think there's some bureaucracy that's slowing down paperwork. Let's see how it comes together. But if I was going to one uranium stock, I'd own Kazatomprom. I think the country's completely underappreciated. I think the company's completely
on the nuclear.
The country's completely underappreciated, and I think they have the chance to do a lot of really interesting stuff on a 5 to 10 year basis if nuclear actually takes off and we see real reactor growth globally.
Would you get a beer with Lee if he asked?
Lives in Sydney. Maybe I would.
You'd get a beer with Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently he's got a nice house.
Does it? I wouldn't be surprised.
Good suits.
What's a CEO doing living in Sydney when he's supposedly going to be building a multi-billion-dollar project?
Jumping
in,
on boats with brokers, mate.
Saskatchewan.
Fucking loving the boat life.
Got to go hand deliver the watches.
Go Australia.
Go Australia.
Gents, I think that's about a wrap.
We got a dinner to get to, don't we? Fucking hell.
Yeah. Fuck,
Koala,
that was good fun.
thanks for
Tell
waking
you
up at
what,
4 in the
another
morning.
hour would be good because we'll get real shit faced.
I think that'll continue after
Keep the
the
camera rolling.
recording
I need
stops.
to piss about 3 times and then we'll fucking come back.
Hey, shout out to on behalf
We'll do it
of
at
the
10
money.
o'clock tonight.
Shout
always
out
assumed
to
you did
bloody
piss
Trav.
breaks.
Trav's been working all fucking weekend to make this happen.
Good
I
setup.
think audio and video is easy. It's not. It's fucking
Yeah,
hard.
no, buddy. Yeah, and you never make it
What's
hard.
what's your audience on the YouTubes versus the
just
podcasts?
shitloads.
Yeah, I'm hardcore Spotify. I don't watch a single video.
I reckon I've
I watch
watched
videos
one video.
with my 1-year-old daughter.
What do
She
you-
loves
what-
them.
What do you? Are you audio or video?
It depends. So,
Depends,
like,
yeah.
if I'm watching it, like, I get up early and watch it with my 1-year-old daughter, it's
Yeah.
YouTube. But if I'm driving to work, it's...
Do you ever need it
Peak dad
just
behaviour.
like I mean, Maddie swears like 40 times. I'm about 30.
Yeah.
Like,
You've
worry about that
lifted
with
your
one-year-old
rate
daughter?
a lot.
Sorry, what was
Do
your
you worry about the swearing frequency with watching it with the
No,
daughter?
fuck no.
No,
She's one.
She's one.
Ah, okay.
Maybe at 3,
Gotcha.
I'll just be like, well,
It-
2 more
it-
years.
it-
Let's
These
see
are
where we
finance words. We don't say daddy's finance words.
I'll be kicked out by then.
It's, to answer your question,
So
so
you'll be fine.
it's about the same. What you see on YouTube, double that, and that's the audio listenership.
Is it worth doing the YouTube? Like I can see around the room, there's a lot of fucking around to get the.
There's
Yeah,
a-
no,
right,
definitely.
right?
There's a lot of
I love the visuals that you put up and
Yeah.
the maps and everything like that.
there's a few it's weird, right? So some of the audience will be exclusively one or the other, and there's no way they do the other.
Yeah, right.
And the other part too about
Podcast through and through.
yeah, and like so JD's audio. He's an audio guy. He'd only have been. I pay for
Face
YouTube
for audio.
Premium, right? So for me, listening to a
Who
podcast
watches ads?
is the same as YouTube Premium because
Except
it's
if
like
they're
Yeah,
about
man.
I can lock my phone and it's doing the same
augment
thing, and then when I'm on my phone, it's a little square in the bottom corner. So I actually like YouTube. Like that's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
and people are different in that respect. I've been a big proponent of doing video from day one because I just think your potential to grow is so much bigger when you have video. Because YouTube's algorithms will promote it to a new audience all the time, better than Spotify's will, or better than whatever your podcast app will. And B, because you can chop up shorts and chuck them up.
And where's your ranking? I'm just curious to know, where do you sit at the moment
One.
in a podcast? Fuck, what a what though, mate? What a fucking- like, is that fucking money like mining podcast listeners? Or?
Finance podcast.
Ask Koala. Koala, how are we going in America? What do they think of us over there?
They don't even know there's a mining industry in the world.
But Yanks don't like swearing, do they? Like,
Nah, they fucking
fucking
hate it. Yeah.
Oh, mate, I had to explain to a bunch of Canadians when I was on a mine there what GC stood for on the hat, and they could not believe it. They were all gobsmacked. I was
So
walking
good.
around the mine with GC on the side.
Oh. Hey, Koala, what GC number are you? He's
Let
looking.
me see.
while he looks at that, what do I need to do to get my GC number down? I'm 40,
No, so we're thinking about
4701.
that. We're thinking of possibly
Can I bid it up?
auctioning off some vacant
Yeah,
spots
oof.
in
Yeah,
future.
I would like a higher number.
yeah.
2286.
2286.
2286.
We have some
Fuck me
vacancies.
I think I'm
Um,
4701.
I don't know what we're
but I
going
wanted
to do.
talk to
We're
the
also
boys.
open to
Guys,
suggestions.
rookie numbers.
So
Pump those numbers up.
I think we're gonna. There might be some inactive ones within the
Oh,
first
fuck
100
them off.
that board hats but don't subscribe to the director's special. So we might send some letters and say, look, if you don't claim this within the first few days,
Yeah, fucking
we're going to start
go on,
auctioning
boys.
them off.
And final question, Scott. How many referrals did you get?
90 something.
Oh, fuck you. I'm
110.
132.
That's
So
phenomenal.
fuck you.
I wanna say-
132.
Get fucked.
Simon, I
What
actually
are they?
think you won. And do you know why you
done.
won, by the
Because
way?
you
GG.
reposted it, or you boys reposted
No.
it.
It was. I actually think it's massively. Everyone else was. They got there via mostly Twitter. Bryce was LinkedIn as well, but
Koala went off
Um,
on Twitter.
Koala's got a mad Twitter
Yeah.
following. But I actually think yours was exclusively LinkedIn, and it was LinkedIn.
I had 12 followers.
Super fucking underrated
Yeah.
for like virality of your post. It's like
The
elite.
LinkedIn algorithm's good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm actually stoked that I even got in because I had this moral quandary where I was like, I have a lot of email addresses in my customer user base, and I was like,
so logical.
GDPR's coming in. I better be a good boy.
I'll
And the
tell you
fact that I still got there without cheating, I felt so proud.
Tell you the truth, I was just after the carton of beer. So
I think we all were.
I was only in it for the carton of beer, and I was pretty happy to get there.
Oh,
so.
mate, well, look, on behalf of us three and Ali GC, yous are absolute fucking good cunts. And thank you so much.
FGCs? Is that
And that's FGC, ultra good cunts. Thanks so much for your support. And bloody, it might have just been a little share around the internet, but what it does for us, fucking legends.
And,
thanks for-
and what you
thanks
guys
getting
do
it
for the
behind
mining
us.
industry in
Yeah.
Australia, I
Well,
think
we
you're
hope
fucking
we,
legends too.
we hope we reciprocate,
You
but
do.
just from a few,
It's like the old reach
a few
arounds.
battlers trying to get a wage. What yous have done is fucking helped us shitloads.
But
So
I-
can't
Appreciate
thank
it,
yous
guys.
enough.
Yeah, a lot of the referrals I've
Hoodaroo,
seen
boys.
still read your newsletter.
Hoodaroo, Koala.
Hoodaroo, Koala.
Cheers,
Cheers,
Koala.
guys.
Have a
What
good
time is it there now?
Sun's up.
Exactly.
Have a good day,
Enjoy
mate.
the eucalyptus
Is
on the
that
other
how
side
you
of the
dress at 4 o'clock in the morning? Jeez, you must be rich.
world. Hoodaroo, guys. Fucking well done.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
The information contained in this episode of Money of Mine is of general nature only and does not take into account the objectives, financial situation, or needs of any particular person. Before making any investment decision, you should consult with your financial advisor and consider how appropriate the advice is to your objectives, financial situation, and needs.